Welcome to Summoner's Rift.
How did nobody clean up this desk yesterday?
When we look back into the sun, this is serial light that we left will not burn out. While to where we run in the time that we have.
Good afternoon, wherever you are. It might be night, it might be morning. I am Doc Haskell, and I'm here in the Boise State Game Pants Esports Arena for something we've been talking about for years. Call of Duty. We're actually going to do it today. Collegiate Call of Duty, specifically between Boise State and Colorado State University. Now, there's nobody behind me because all the folks are at home today, but they're playing from their dorms, from their basements, who knows, maybe from an internet cafe, to be able to compete in a game that they love against a university that they loathe. Okay, I'm ramping it up here. We've got our limited production crew and adequate social distancing happening here for this first of its kind matchup, and we'll jump into it as soon as we can. But let me give you a little bit of a story. When we started with esports here at Boise State, we started with team games. Well, Call of Duty is a team game, check. We started with T-rated games. Call of Duty is, okay, maybe it's not a T-rated game. If you get one conversation about esports, as I always say, you don't want the first one to be about gun violence. But here's what we know about these games, specifically Call of Duty, CSGO, R6, is that they are incredibly strategic, incredibly powerful team games. They just use weapons that maybe we don't have a conversation about. Today, we're going to launch into our supported game, our supported team of our Call of Duty folks against our longtime friends, but also bitter rivals, the Colorado State Rams. And the Colorado State Rams are a great squad. They have been practicing quite a bit. And you know what? Whenever you play against the blue and orange, there's going to be a target, specifically on the back. So now we're going to get to see what they do. We're going to do a semi-standard Call of Duty League rotation, beginning with Hardpoint on Checkmate. This is a great map that you've seen many, many times. You're like, Checkmate, I think I know this one. It's a variation of, you notice this in the Call of Duty universe, they just keep creating these different variations on maps that we know and love. Well, Checkmate is the hangar planning strategy map where they're getting ready to take over Air Force One. Cold War is my era here. All right, so let's talk a little bit about the Boise State squad coming in. Hat Trick, Practical, McAvoy, and I can't... Perpsky? Perpskin? Okay, I'm going to mess that one up. It's just Perp for me from now on. But we're really excited to have this group. Of course, that's Aiden, Presley, Dylan, and Austin. So we're going to jump into this map in just a second. But if you remember some of the details about the Checkmate map, we're going to begin on Hardpoint. It's a control point that moves around. You get just a slight notice when it's about to jump in and do it, but there are going to be 5 different points. 2 of them are in the airplane. The other 2 are sprinkled around the map. 1 in containers, and then 2 really along the sides of the map. Some of these offer tremendous, cover that you can be controlled behind and you can hold it. Others, you're right out in the open, and you've got to spread out, expand your defense so that you can hold it a little bit longer. The problem with some of these, specifically point 2, and on my map that's just called containers, it's really easy to get explosives in there. Now, in the past we've used Call of Duty rules, and so certain loadouts discouraged, which is sad for me because I like a good old noob tube. All right, here we are on Checkmate. This is CDL Hardpoint, and you see some of the details. All right, we've got, of course, the tail section to a pseudo Air Force One as they're prepping to do this. Location Germany. You see all the details on the map there. We'll get sound up here in just a moment so you can hear the eerie, moody music. All right, jumping on the Boise State side in blue, Colorado State in green. Hardpoint not set up yet. It's about to jump, and it'll probably be 1 or 3. So plane or hangar. That'd be under the plane for you. Okay, they jump in. Hardpoint is open, and it is. It's right there, dead center, in the plane, top level plane. Action breaks out. Fire. There's some people damaged, injured. Oh, they did drop one. Boise State with a slight lead, holding on to the point there. Ooh! Goes down. Hat-trick does not get what he wants. They're going to try to retake the plane here. Colorado State doing a nice job setting up, as Boise State sees, on the left side of that. A little bit under, a little bit over, but they're still ticking up on that hard point. Colorado State's got to contest up there and maybe at least try to get them from taking this. Or maybe they're just looking for elims here to get in a better situation. Not a lot of coordination. Pone goes down. Retro with 1 kill streak, but he goes down as well. Steggy trying to get back into the fight as well. Boise State going to get 40 on the hardpoint points here, and they're just moving in here, firing through the container, not working for them at this point. Okay, so CoD, Pone, Retro, and Steggy all on the Colorado State side. Pone doing a nice job, Retro doing a nice job of eliminating Boise State. But on the Broncos side, Hat-trick with the big elimination streak going right now. Well, sorry, no more elimination streak. Practical, 5-0. What's he doing? Is he back sniping? We got to see some Practical when we have a second. Pone trying to retake here, but they're under containers. Hardpoint has moved again. It's over now, point 2. This would be containers. Doing a nice job getting it set up. They're going to hang on to this again. Colorado State's got to make a move here. They're trying to get some high ground, but they're contesting the wrong place. They're just kind of looking for elims, and they've got to actually just put some combined fire on the Broncos if they want to have success here. Maybe they've just given up this hard point. Just about 10 seconds left on this. Boise State's going to get this second straight hard point all the way up to 100 and over. Hat-trick on a big kill streak going on now. It's about to switch, and where does it go? It goes to the under the plane. This is hangar, right under the plane. And Colorado State grabs it. They were set up to do it. They just gave up the first one, or second one, excuse me, and said, let's just get control over here. Now they're spreading out. If you look at the mini-map, you can see where Colorado State is. They're moving back in. They're getting Boise State angles on them so that they can eliminate it. It's contested right now. Boise State's trying to get control of it again. Actually, they have control of it. It looks like Colorado State stepped off just for a second. You can't do that. Oh, Steggy goes down, not having the game that he wants. 3 eliminations to his 8 eliminations himself. Doing okay. Coop doing a nice job of kind of making some action here. Perpsky not able to hang on there. Okay, Boise State's going to push 125 here on this hard point. 10 seconds left. It's going to move again. My guess is it's going to be 5. That's going to be hangar. That's the bottom side of the map as we see it here. And it looks like Colorado State's already getting in position to do this. But Steggy goes down. Hat-trick really putting together a bunch of good stuff. They move it, and I was incorrect. It goes to 4 here, which will be containers on the top side. As we look here, Boise State still in control right away. Retro goes down again. Pone goes down. Oh, but Steggy with an elimination on McDowdy there. Good work. The CoD goes down as well. They're just not able to get all of their reticles on the Bronco players. Seems like they're spending a lot of their time trying to move into position. You can tell that from the minimap down below as they basically move in from that left side of the map. They're all spawning over there, but Boise State's only got 20 seconds left on this. It would be smart for them to try to pick up and grab the next one. Only 13 ticks so far for Colorado State trying to do this, and we're about to move hardpoint in 10 seconds. Looks like it's going to be position number 5. That's hangar, bottom side of your map. Already, Steggy in position to make that happen. Not very far. Coog also in position. 2 of them are going to be able to take that right away. Boise State looking for eliminations in the plane so that they can take the advantage down to that 5 position on the map, but no pressure really yet on the Colorado State Rams as they're holding on to it. Perbsky not able to get into position. You see that firing position from Practical and McDowdy on the plane right there. Up on the wing is McDowdy trying to get fire down on it, but they've got to actually put pressure on the backside. Player number 5, Coog, getting into position, trying to get, it does, takes down Perbsky on the other side of the plane. Boise State trying to get the high ground here so that they can get a little bit, but maybe they are just giving this one up. Look, we're just going to try to get some eliminations. We're going to just keep some fire on them. If we get lucky and get 1 or 2 good limbs. Ooh, Retro goes down. But it looks like the Cougs are going to get this full hold on the hard point. Boise State probably not going to contest in the next 5 seconds. Okay, as we get ready to move, it's going back to position number 1. That is the plane. And Boise State is already holding that space. You can see it on the map. The Cougs all coming up through the narrowest spot. That's what the Spartan 300 soldiers would want you to do as well if you were the Persian army. They're going to come up into the plane and not able to get much. Ooh, missed on that Simtex. That would have been great if you'd stuck it on his forehead, but it did not happen. And actually, they've done a nice job there of placing some countermeasures right inside the door. That'd be the trophy system, which basically just shoots anything you throw in there. It's like the buddy at your office who sits a little bit too close to the recycling bin. You wad up a piece of paper, you lob it into the recycling bin, and Dikembe Mutombo just says no thank you and kicks it out of there. So there look to be 2, 3 perhaps trophy systems in that plane. At least 2. Contested right now, Colorado State in the President's Chambers. This is, of course, the old Air Force One when it was tiny. Think, think the movie Air Force One. That was a good one. Get off my plane. And that's what they're trying to say, the Colorado State Rams, right now as Boise State tries to take over. So they've moved to a new hard point. Boise State captured nearly all of that. They're at 215 points. It's kind of critical level. This is where Colorado State has to make a big move here. They've got to take that spot. And as we look at it, rotates back to position number 2, containers top side. And Boise State already in position. They did a nice little move to make that happen. But still, Boise State cannot get full force. Ooh, big elimination on Pona Steggy. And now Retro goes down. Coog, the only one left who can defend that space, and it's going to flip over to Boise State, and it does. It goes blue on the top there. Hard point. They hang on to this for another 25 seconds, and they're going to have exactly what they need. All right. Boise State, though, down in numbers. Hat trick. Only one left. He goes down as well. Looks like Colorado State's going to be able to take that. Are they in even position to take that? No tick up happening here, so Boise State's not going to be able to come close to the finish on this one. The hard point is about to move. It's going back to hangar, which is the underside of the plane, and they're going to take it over. And it looks like Boise State already in position. 2 Colorado State eliminated. 1 Boise State goes down. It looks like Steggy trying to eliminate folks. Can't do it. Gets eliminated himself. Boise State firm control. All 4 members on the hard point at this point. And they're not seeing much pressure. You got to get in there, Colorado State, if you want to disrupt this. And Boise State's going to take that 250 points and win. Score, limit, reach. Let's see who had the nicest moment in this chunk here. Nope, no replay? Okay, let me describe. Oh, okay, all right, we'll do replay. Best play, Perbsky. I think I may have called him Poopsky at one point. Just give us a little bit of a break here. Boise State is new to this and new to these players. And as I always say, if we can't pronounce your name, you chose the wrong name, my friend. So I'm not blaming Perbsky or Poopsky, although if we could talk him into a change, that might be a good. No, Perbsky is actually. Let us know in chat which is worse, Poopsky or Perbsky, and maybe it's meant for purple skier. as you know, perp would be P-E-R-P, and he's P-U-R-P. But you know what? If you only get to describe it, you don't get that moment where you're like, oh, okay, so my name is Perpsky with 2 I's, but it's a U, as in like the color purple. It's like no one is listening at that point. They've already walked away. If you can't, and this is my advice to all gamers everywhere, if you can't identify your name in a single message, verbally, you can't do it. All right, it is time for Hardpoint again. This is Crossroads this time, and we like Crossroads a lot. Snowy, looks very, very cold. One of my favorite spots, I'm interested to know what your favorite spot is too, but one of my favorite spots absolutely is that high ground. Kind of has visibility over the tank. You've got the visibility over the backside. You're kind of up against the rocks there. I don't necessarily like to snipe from there because that would include actually being good at aiming. I like to just get a big old submachine gun up there and do the work. Yeah, right there, basically where they are. All right, rolling out here, and this is a fabulous map. Crossroads. Here we go. Boise State, Colorado State, time for some action. Oh, there we go. Steggy goes down. Boise State captures the hard point. You can tell that by the blue. Doing a nice job here around containers. Oh, on your side there. Not going to do it. Perpsky is taken out by Kook. Pone then goes down himself. Steggy dropped by Practical, and Practical, not a name we've called a ton, trying to take over tank there. Right now, it is essentially up there in position 1. Let me get a good look on this map as well. Position 1. And it looks like Colorado State. I realize you probably think, what are you, just joining in here? No. It's over on tank. Position 1, that is one of the favorite ones. You can get a lot of explosives onto that space. You can get some of your, if you say you equip a landmine, you can get it on there. You could defend that one pretty well from a distance and kind of cover some of those side angles there. All right. And by the way, if you ever need a really good one, this is in Uzbekistan, by the way, which is part of the former Soviet Republic there. Oh, McDowdy spraying maybe and praying. I'm not quite sure with that. Okay, this hardpoint map, of course, 4 position munition storage. That's by the tank. Annex, munition storage, warehouse, and then, again, munition storage, big rocks. That's the theme of this Crossroads. We store a lot of munitions here. Okay, so as I've been babbling on, Colorado State manages to take over the hard point, specifically number 2. They're in the annex. They're holding all the angles of the annex. Oh, hat-trick. Can't get enough fire on him. No, dings him pretty good. Boise State setting up, mostly coming in from the same direction. They do finally take over annex and are doing their best to get control of it. Ooh, goes down again. Practical. We're looking Practical. Boise State really favoring right now all of these fabulous. Well, is that 3? No, that's 4. That's 4 to stop any incoming. A fly can't fly in here without getting shot down by a trophy system at this point. Very, very good. Now, they did a good job clearing that space out. Now we've got 3 of Colorado State on the point, but Retro goes down. Steggy goes down. That's only Kook. Practical, who's challenging right now, does take down Kook, and it's going to go back in Boise State's favor with 12 seconds left. But this is a Colorado State map. They chose this map and are playing very well on this map. They're going to be able to take another one over. As we get 5 seconds left, looks like we're going to rotate over to, well, is this position number 5? I don't actually have this one. I do have it on my map. I take it back. This is outside near the tank again. This is a great spot. Okay, Boise State trying to get in position. Well, they're doing a nice job covering these exits. Nice hit there. Colorado State creeping into position. We can see him with the green outlines on ours, but Kook didn't know he's there. Oh no, excuse me. Kook does know he's there. Okay, hat-trick went down. They're about to jump back into the fight. Kook goes down. peeked a little bit too many times in the same direction. You got to know that once you've been identified, you can't really use that angle as much anymore. Okay, oh, Retro gets onto the point but is eliminated immediately. More grenades come out. CoD can't get to the point. Practical holding the space. 10 seconds left on this point before it rotates back to the tank. This is where it gets exciting. Nice. Okay. Colorado State on the new point. How long will it take Boise State to put pressure on? It's not going to be McDowdy eliminated early. Coog, the only one on point. Retro goes down. Colorado State, a little bit of a weakness here. Perpsky trying to get in position, but is eliminated in the process. Oh, challenge put in by Hatch. Where is he? There he is. No, that was his buddy. He was behind you. Now it looks like if we could, maybe? No. Perpsky trying to get into position, goes down, but did not see player over on the left side of him. Okay, this is still Colorado State's point. They've done a nice job holding these. Explosives come in. The problem is you eliminate your folks. They get all their explosives back, and they can start lobbing them on you in the open here. Boise State contesting. 2 on. Steggy takes down 1. Oh, cannot take down the second. Flips over to Boise State. Steggy, 5 elimination killing spree. Pone doing a great job, not calling his name very much. Retro, get in the game, my guy. You're doing a good job, but we need a little bit more production out of you. Your teammates are like, yeah, that's what we said. But on the Boise State side, Perpsky doing a nice job of eliminating some folks. Pretty balanced progression over by the Broncos on the other side. Okay, Broncos in control here, but you do not want them to get a lead. It limits your options if you're Colorado State. Oh, 1v1 gunfight does not go well on the side of Boise State. Retro now on the hard point, and now they got to clear some of these angles, not let them get easy access to it. Where are they coming from? Good comms, good really, you got to be able to identify them. 3 Broncos charging in together. All 3 eliminated on the south side of the map as they're trying to take over the hard point. But Colorado State gets it back. Boise State moving from the west to the east, looking like they may come through Annex and Bridge at this point. Now they've said, no, we're going to let them have it, let them tick it out, let's get the next one, and they are moving into Annex. This is inside again, and this really favors them. But Boise State can't hold the space. Although they do get the point, they are outnumbered. And if Colorado State can get there quickly and get some good angles, doesn't look like that's going to happen. McDowdy goes down. Colorado State on the point now. Can they take it? They do flip it. 142 to 132. Colorado State poised to take the lead here. Boise State flips it again. McDowdy goes down the process. Steggy goes down. Retro on point. Perpsky on point. Retro goes down. You're doing a nice job of challenging those points. You just got to make those eliminations, Retro. You can do it. McDowdy on point for Boise State, now trying to hold on to this, and does. Flips the hard point, starts ticking back in the favor of Boise State again. Retro, you didn't see him there, and he went down just the same. Okay, 15 seconds left. Colorado State's got to make the point. Are we going to try to steal just a couple of ticks here, or are we going to get into position for the next one? And where is it? It's out in the open by containers, which, spoiler alert, is all munitions storage here. Actually, I think that they might actually have some canned beans out there as well. We'll just call it where the beans are. Okay, Boise State did a nice job rotating and capturing that one. Colorado State eliminated in transition. That's a strange spot to put it, but okay. Maybe they are saying, look, we want the next one. We think we know where it's going to be. We'll do some limited challenges. But right there, Steggy in position, maybe to make a play. No! Eliminated Steggy by Perpsky. Nice job, Perpsky, doing that. Oh, throwing a grenade, and what happens? The guy runs out. You can't get your weapon up. That's never happened to me. I always throw my my little deployables at the right time. I never do it wrong. Okay. Wow. Doing a nice job. Boise State with only 15 seconds left on this one. Colorado State is in a do or die. This is a much better map for them. But just a couple of these hard points, they have not been able to put it together, not been able to focus in the same direction. Retro trying to get away at this point. I believe in you, Retro. Pone doing a fabulous job this map. The match scores are really good for Colorado State. Pretty even across Boise State. A lot of times eliminated unless your name is Perpsky. But everybody else, eliminated greater than 10 to 15 times. Actually, Hat Trick doing a nice job of coming back. Currently sitting on a 7 elimination streak. Retro, get down, bro. Get down. Okay, they're on this point. They've got to hang on to this one. They can't let Boise State flip it because they only need 17 ticks, 16 ticks to get it back. You got to stay in there. Oh, he just did not click on the head of Pone. Oh, and he goes down, trying to slide into that wall. Again, you got to deploy those munitions in motion so that you can get to where you need to go and get your reticle up. This is still Colorado State's point, only 5 seconds left. Boise State looking to be rotating, and they are completely surrounding point number 2. Also annex? Yes. More munition storage. Boise State in position. They've got the hard point. They are ticking it up. There we go. Steggy with an elimination. Perpsky, the only one left on point. Can they scramble quickly? They do. Colorado State to get it back, but they're going to have an advantage for just a moment if you're Boise State. On this point, they've got to get these eliminations. Yep, here it comes. Nice job. Oh, eliminated. Colorado State, 2 on the point, 2 eliminated for Boise State. You've got a real advantage. Pone steps off, going hunting a little bit. Coog trying to get back to position. Steggy holding the line on the hard point. They got to get this over 200, and they can do it if they can hang on to it here and not let Boise State flip it. They can't let a single point flip. Boise State may just sacrifice all of this to get into position for point number 3, which is, of course, warehouse, and it looks like they're already gearing up in position. We've got Perpsky there. We've got all 4 members. Boise State captures it right away and wins it. Tough position if you get that far down, but what a great round by Colorado State. This was back and forth, and look at this. Pone sharpened that pencil, saying, here's the strategy that works. Click on heads. That's how you do it. This is pretty fantastic stuff. Welcome, everybody. Hey, they want to go to a short break, and we'll allow that. But we are here in the Boise State Game Pants Esports Arena. We are Boise State versus Colorado State in Call of Duty, and it's going well. But we're still going to take a break. See you soon.
Legendary parts for legendary wins.
Here are a couple lessons I've learned over the years. Friendships come in all shapes and sizes. And always buckle up. Seatbelts save lives. That's a rule we can all live by.
Visit NationalGuard.com to begin your Guard adventure.
Hello and welcome back into the Boise State Game Pants Esports Arena. I have shown up to what Doc actually told me to do. He told me, hey, Fish, we've got Call of Duty on Saturday, and you know, I've definitely put on my skills on stream before, so I log on Call of Duty. I'm waiting for my invite. I never get it, and Doc's like, you're not good enough to be on the team. You're supposed to be at the arena. I'm like, oh. So that is why we showed up late today. Is I thought I was on the team. Doc has informed me that was never in the realm of possibilities. I'm just a lonely caster. So I'm here to watch the better Boise State Call of Duty players keep holding it down against Colorado State like they've done so far. I am Michael Fish Fisher, joined by Savannah Esmar Temple to call the rest of this showdown between these two schools, the preseason match. Really excited that Boise State's getting a Call of Duty team, and so far they are proving that maybe they should have had one all along, as we just saw them dominate on Crossroads Strikes. A very, very interesting map, Savannah, because of how small it is, how quick it is. As soon as you can spawn and then immediately die, so it's very, very tilting sometimes to be able to run that map successfully like Boise State did.
Yeah, small map, new team. I'm excited to see what the Boise State team has to offer. I don't know any of these players. They're on campus, so maybe I've seen them around. I don't know. But it'll be interesting to see like how they play. If these are the 208 guys, you know, those people that you see there, gamertag 208, I might be a little bit afraid.
I mean, so far so good for Boise State in their first organized competition on the stream, so be curious to see how they do on the next map. Sounds like we are going to Garrison. As I'm sure you've heard, we are somewhat following CDO rules. We have just scratched off Search and Destroy for tonight's agenda, but we will have that once the actual season kicks off at Boise State right now. Chugging along pretty nicely on Hardpoint. Going into Game 4 should be the last one on Hardpoint as we load into Garrison. Definitely a very interesting map, one of the OG Call of Duty maps divided into what really feels like 3 lanes. You've got the one on the catwalk, you've got the one on the left side out of the building, and then you've got the one right down the middle, right underneath that tank. So it's going to be very interesting to see where the teams end up going. That right side, definitely something I prefer, but it is also very tilting to try and sometimes push out from the spawn, depending on which side you get.
I think with that right side, that climbing up into the room, a little bit too risky for me. I prefer the left side underneath that floorboard popping out right on the backside of the tank.
Yeah, there is definitely a lot of vertical play on a map that looks incredibly flat. As you mentioned, there's the way under the tank. You can also sneak under the floorboards on the left side and just kind of pop out. So we'll see where we're going to go. We're going to kick off Hardpoint right there to the left of McDowdy. Boise State going to pick up a pair of eliminations. Practical and Perp Skill both getting some, as Hatrick's going to get one as well. And now Boise State off to a great start as Coop tries for the flank.
Yeah, it doesn't look like that go around from their spawn on the left side was working that well. They had McDowdy up in the middle, 2 people up on that right side, so it just didn't work out.
And this is one of the most tilting maps for me. If you get the spawn of Colorado State, you might see it in one of the kill feeds, but if you watch where Pone is coming from, you can actually see the shadow as he rounds the corner if you're staring down that hallway. Nice flank there onto Perpsky, though. There's no one for Boise State watching that angle. It can be incredibly tough to push around as the team's trading back and forth, but right now it's all Boise State in control of the hard point. Going to be switching off soon. Coug and Pone both trying for something. Neither of them looking in the right direction, though, as Hatrick's going to pick up at least one. And Boise State prepping already for that rotation, but Practical loses it.
That hard point over there is just so incredibly difficult to hold down. It's so open, and I think Colorado State coming from that opposite side definitely has the advantage there. But again, I mean, I'm with you. I don't like spawning on the same side as Colorado is. I think there's less options moving in towards the middle of the map rather than the side that Boise State's on. There's so many more, as you mentioned, vertical options there.
Steggy doing a great job holding down this hard point. This one is incredibly hard to see. Just Boise State takes it over. There's so many different angles. You can go behind the tank. You can go above it. Looks like we've got an M4 pickup here from Practical, sitting at 9 HP. Going to be able to survive. Perpsky picks up a 4K, and Boise State right back in control, though their lead was shrunk quite a bit. Looks like Colorado State's just prepping for the rotation. Going to go all the way on the other side of the map into the Boise State spawn. And that's once again going to not favor the Rams of Colorado State here.
I really think that brings up to offer how you decide to play a hard point. Obviously the point is to capture the point, but I mean, do you have a few players that rotate around and maybe go for the kills while you have a few players aiming for that hard point? Personally, I like to just go all for it, TDM style. I mean, I'm not really much one for the hardpoint game mode. But I think it really, I can't really see here what Boise State's trying to do. It looks like they're kind of spread out around the point.
And Boise State looks like they've got 1 or 2 members on it. You can see that Perpsky's actually on a full-out flank that you were talking about there. Espar does get gunned down, but does kind of draw the fire of Colorado State, and time's just ticking out. You see Pone's nowhere near it, neither is CoD or Retro. So Boise State, all 3 members now on that hard point. No one for Colorado State close. So we're going to swap once again to hard point number 4. Kind of in the middle of the map, still on that Boise State side just a little bit, but Colorado State read that one perfectly, and they got in perfect position. So good job by the Rams trying to recover from that dominating hard point we just saw for Boise State.
It kind of seems like they just backed off of that back one. They knew it was in the spawn. Maybe they were getting ready for that second rotation into this hard point. They were already kind of playing that middle of the map. That might be the explanation for why they weren't all the way back in that Boise State spawn.
Yeah, definitely it looked like the Rams were like, all right, this is not in our spawn. We're just going to turn around. Looks like the spawns have flipped as you see Retro there in what was the Boise State spawn, trying for the flank. Gets some help from his teammate. Loses that 1v1 to Practical. There's also a flanker right behind him. And Boise State's lead right now growing pretty quickly. The Rams do take control of the hard point. Be curious to see if Boise State with 10 seconds left is planning for a move or if they want to try and eke out these last points.
Kind of looks like they're pushing in slow. You saw McDowdy there trying to peek around that corner, but instantly gunned down. I personally would just stay back at this point. I don't think there's any point in going towards that hard point. Looks like Colorado has it pretty locked down.
Yeah, this one in the Rams spawn just a little bit into the building. And Boise State's going to push up. Perpsky picks up 2. Do we have 3? No, looks like Pone's going to be able to get behind the wall. Watching for that flank. Very hard point to hold down. CoD gets a nice flank there on the hat trick, but Practical's going to gun him down. So many openings right here. It's so hard to hold this hard point for an extended period of time.
Yeah, this one just right in the back half of the middle of the map. Kind of just wide open. There's really nowhere to hide, and there's so many options of pushing into it. All those rooms, different openings. I mean, there's really no place to kind of hold it down.
Yeah, there's so many windows. There's so many back storage areas you could get through. 5 seconds left. We're going to go back to hard point number 1. You can see Boise State, McDowdy in particular, holding that one down, trying to take down Retro. Can't gun him down. Retro's actually going to pick up a double kill before being taken out. So that play nearly shuts down Boise State. Steggy on the flank. Grenade just barely misses. He's going to contest the hard point, throw out a grenade of his own. Trophy system will take care of that, though. But Colorado State, nice little play there from Steggy to kind of get the Rams back on this point.
Yeah, he kind of snuck around there and was able to get those picks. Kind of allows that the time for the rest of the team to respawn and push back into where that hard point is.
You can see Coog and Steggy, the only 2 alive, pushing from their spawn. Pone and Retro will join as well. See if the Rams want to wait for that. One of them gets gunned down, make it 2 before McDowdy gets taken out. And Boise State in complete control of the hard point. Pone going to get just a tick there before he gets gunned down. 12 seconds left before we rotate once again. You can see there on your screen Practical and Hat Trick already waiting there at that bottom left, right where that new hard point is going to be.
Kind of seems like Boise State's pretty spread out right now compared to Colorado State. They're all trying to push from different angles. I don't necessarily know if that would be the play. You can see them all there in that back corner. I don't know if that necessarily gives you the best view, especially because you have that top-down advantage. Colorado State definitely looking from above is able to pick those players off.
Perpsky putting himself in a nice position on that tank. Took me probably about 3 days to figure out that you could actually be on that tank when this game was released. I was like, how do you even get up there? And then I was like, oh, you just stand right on top of it. So definitely a cheeky little spot. You can see that right now, unfortunately for Colorado State, hardpoint not in their favor, 200 to 66. And right now they're just trading continuously 1 for 1 as Pone does take down Perpsky. And they're really not finding any way to get on the point for the Rams. They finally get on it, but Boise State has kind of realized, you know what? Only 10 seconds left. Let's rotate over to hard point number 3, and you can already see a couple guys. McDowdy hold it down already 5 seconds before it spawns.
Yeah, that's a really big point of a really big part of hardpoint is knowing where those next rotations are going to be. If you already have an idea of where they're going to be, you've played hardpoint a lot, it can kind of be to your advantage because you'll already be able to pre-rotate and hold it down, get there before the other team does.
Boise State looks like they already have a trophy system on that hard point, going to make it that much harder to siege. McDowdy's going to go bang, bang, 2 in the head. Perpsky's going to pick up 1 as well. Boise State wipes Colorado State. You can see the Rams trying to rush back. Boise State nearing in on that 250-point victory margin right now as Boise State's sitting pretty. Colorado State really has not found much footing besides a couple of pushes here and there.
You know, looking at the map, Colorado State is all pushing into the same area as a squad of 4. I think in this case it might be better to maybe split up 2 and 2, have that 2-side flank. That maybe could have benefited them.
Yeah, Boise State played that map perfectly. Felt like the Broncos always were just 1 step ahead of the Rams. And the few times that the Rams did get to the point, you had guys like Perpsky who had multiple 4 and 5 killing streaks just kind of say, all right, you know what, Colorado State got it. I'll make sure that they quickly go back to the respawn point. So a great play there by Boise State, winning another map here on Hardpoint in Collegiate Call of Duty. Boise State and Colorado State getting some warm-ups before the regular season in CCL kicks off in a week or so. And right now, Boise State, this new team, feels like they've been playing for a while together because they kind of, I mean, they always have somebody covered. There's not just 4 people huddled around the point like we saw time in Colorado State. It's, all right, I've got the point, you get the flank, and they seem to all know where the other one's going to be at all times.
Yeah, that team communication seems pretty solid, but I mean, it was pretty hard to ignore the diamond camos there. When you have a squad members that have diamond camos, you know that they've grinded, they've put a lot of hours into the game. Cold War doesn't make it easy to get those camos, so that is a lot of hours put into what I imagine just grinding into Cold War. Yeah,
the hardest part, not just, you know, the challenges, I'll say, compared to Modern Warfare, much easier. Not having to get mounted kills is just absolutely insanely easier. The problem is that the weapon levels are so much slower. I know at the start of it, people on Reddit saying that it was like 3 or 4 times longer to get to max level than it was in Modern Warfare. So yeah, if somebody's got diamond camo, instant respect in my book, as we're going to Raid next, but we'll get Doc's keys to the game in Cold War. Know your callouts, start fast on easy prey, disorient with tacticals, and never take a fair fight. Boise State doing a really good job with that. I will say, grenades in CCL, almost impossible as everyone's coming with the trophy system. It is, so we saw time and time again, somebody would try to grenade out a point, immediately gets taken out there. So if you know how to use that trophy system, it is just so incredibly strong at stopping someone from just grenading you out of the location. So a really good job there by Boise State. Of course, it's all brought to you by Count, who helps you stay safe online and make sure you prevent any fraud. Almost like a trophy system for your online shopping, if you consider the fraud are the grenades. If you want more information, go check them out at count.com, KOUNT.com. Going to the newer map in Cold War, Raid. Of course, not really that new. Old school Call of Duty players will remember it from the Black Ops series. A very interesting map. Once again, definitely fits that sort of 3-lane mantra that Call of Duty has had over the years. You can go outside in the pools, you can go right between the houses, or you can go out on the subdivisions. A very, very interesting map. I know for CDL rules, Raid has kind of replaced a couple of maps depending on the game mode, so be curious to see how these teams handle what will probably be a prominent map in the CCL season. It is Call of Duty Black Ops Cold War. Boise State and Colorado State having a little bit of a warm-up before CCL kicks off. Boise State's team, first year together, at least under the banner of Boise State that we know of, and they are performing just admirably right now, right? And Colorado State has not had any luck, and it looks like actually we've changed. We're going to go to Satellite. Nope, you know what? It's still Raid. Colorado State's just trying, maybe they're trying to raid our comms so that Boise State doesn't know where we're going. There it is, though. There's the official Raid. As I talked about, old school map. Definitely have the Black Ops vibe to it. You have a lot of ways to go. Would love to live in this house. If I had gone full in on GME stocks, I might have been able to live in this house in a couple of years. Unfortunately, not the case. So we'll see if either of these teams can make the most use of it. It really is a very interesting map, and a lot of flank points are available.
You know, you mentioned that you see lines here. I think of this map more as kind of a circular rotation. I much more prefer to flank. I think this is a perfect map for flanking, actually. There's just so many options. And it's big enough, much bigger than like Garrison, for example. So you're able to kind of be that, you know, sneak 100 sneak around.
There's also not a lot of... There's a couple of places, I know on the right side you can go up on that second roof, but there's not a lot of places of verticality that you can take advantage of. Told that Doc can name all of the references on that map. I'm not sure if that's impressed or he just spent so much time dead, he at least figured he would have something he can contribute to the team. So right now, Boise State are the ones who are in the grave, as 2 of them have gone down on this first hard point. Once again, I really do like how Call of Duty has made it so you can't just camp in these hard points very effectively. There's so many openings, there's so little places for you to hide out here. And Colorado State right now doing a really good job, but Perpsky's on the flank, gets totally found out by a guy he wasn't even looking for.
Yeah, I will say with this hardpoint in particular, you kind of have open sights. Like, as you mentioned, it is hard to camp the hardpoints, but it's also hard to sneak into the hardpoints, especially this one just being so open. You essentially have maybe 4 or 5 different lanes that you can push into to go get it, but it does look like they're starting to rotate over.
Yeah, you can see the new hard point spawning now. Boise State maximizing their points. They actually almost tied up Colorado State, but the Rams' rotation pretty strong. 2 of them do go down. Coog's going to be the first one to try and flank right through the building. Doesn't know Perpsky's on the other side. Oh, didn't check his corners. Always got to do that in Call of Duty. He just ran guns a-blazing, and you never want to do that. Perpsky picks up a triple kill, unfortunately one of those on his own teammate.
I feel like that's one of the best feelings, though. You see that person come in, you have a moment of panic, and then you're like, oh my gosh, they don't even know that I'm here. Kind of the benefit of this map as well. There's just so many corners, especially within these houses, that you can just maybe like hide out in for a few minutes while you wait for the other team.
I'll be honest, I never have that feeling because it's always me who's, I'm like, there's no way there's anyone in here. I'm running in, and then I get gunned down, and if I try and hide, the dude 360s me in the corner, and I'm like, come on, man. Boise State, though, doing a really good job of holding that hard point down. 5 seconds left. Looks like Boise State's just going to abandon ship. They'll let Colorado State get those last few points. They're going to rotate all over to the garage, and they're going to hold that one down right away. Going to make Colorado State try and push through.
Looks like this one might be quite a bit smaller. I don't like the garage. I avoid the garage on this map at all costs. I think it's too open. There's not that many places to hide. But I don't know, that's just me.
Definitely, I mean, the vehicles, not ones for exploding. Of course, you never want to explode a classic, so always a little bit tougher when the vehicles aren't on your side as much. So we see Boise State has contested it. Pone peeks around the trunk and says, oh, you're not on my team, and Boise State's back in control. One last push here from Steggy, and that's never how you want to do it. You never just want to run in solo while the rest of your team's retreating to a different spot on the map. Looks like everybody's moving over to the court, trying to get ready for that new hard point.
You can see how fast both of these teams are rotating. They both seem really familiar with this map. I know you did mention it was released here sometime in December, so you might have gotten a lot of practice on it. I know I've only played it a handful of times, especially not on hardpoint. But they seem to have a really good grasp of where these hardpoints are going to be, and they've already kind of mastered those rotations.
Yeah, it is very interesting. Call of Duty in Season 1 adding a pair of old favorites in Nuketown and Ray, then also adding 2 new maps as well. So always an interesting dichotomy of, do you bring back the old classics, or do you try and make what could be a classic in just a few years in a new map? And Raid wasn't one of those maps from the Black Ops franchise that really just hit me, and I'm like, man, I really miss Raid. It is definitely a fun map. It definitely fits the style of Call of Duty that I prefer. Maps like Miami, I'm like, no, I never want to play on this map again. As Boise State right now is making Colorado State never want to play on this map again. Absolutely dominating the court. Going to move to the courtyard now for the final of the hard point before we reset the rotation. Steggy thought he made a cheeky play, and Boise State was like, nope, we already knew exactly where you were going to be.
That's a big feels bad when you're in the middle of throwing a tactical and you just get gunned down. You kind of have this play all thought out in your head, and it just doesn't go according to plan.
There is that little area you can see where Coog is that kind of provides you some cover down in the middle there. He'll throw that trophy system down. Practical's going to peek him and take him out. McDowdy on the flank doesn't realize someone was right next to him, and then Retro gets taken out. But the Rams definitely putting in some work on this final of the hard points before we will reset over to Circle Drive, which is right where McDowdy's standing. Nice use of the rock cover there, and Colorado State making great use of this inner courtyard to cover a lot of Boise State's fire.
You know where being on a bottom row would be a disadvantage? Colorado State has kind of turned it into their advantage. They are holding down this little rock garden area, kind of jumping those little corners, and they're able to take out these members of Boise State who are kind of just rushing in.
Boise State's going to get a couple of feel-good kills, but the hardpoint has rotated. You see 2 members of Boise State on the map on the bottom left side of your screen are already holding it down. Practical and McDowdy trying to rotate over. Colorado State, any player will tell you there's a multitude of games. You can't fight on the road, you got to fight on the node. And right now, Colorado State not doing a good job of that, taking fights away from the hardpoint, which is just allowing Boise State to rack up free points.
Yeah, the benefit of a mode like Hardpoint is that it really converges people, especially when you're playing with such small groups, like a 4-on-4. Bringing everyone to one area and bringing all the action into one area definitely helps speed up the game.
Yeah, definitely puts on interesting strategies. As Steggy, not even close to the hardpoint, does take down Tactical. McDowdy's trying to hide there. The trophy system's right to his left. He looked at it for a brief moment, has not shot at it yet. It actually was the trophy system that took down his grenade. It looks like he's just going to ignore it. Everyone else rotating over to the kitchen. Boise State really started to press their advantage on the first rotation. Practical trying to gun down Retro. He's got a grenade behind him. Not even body armor is going to save him. And for Boise State, that's a great way to start it. Now can they defend against the push? Looks like they're going to do a good job.
Yeah, Flak Jacket has those advantages, but in a game like this, I mean, a well-placed grenade, he threw it right into that corner. There was no escape there.
Yeah, you either die to the grenade or you die to the bullet fire as you try and run away from the grenade. Coog going to pop around the corner, takes down McDowdy. He will continue on the flank. He's got Retro behind him. Going to try and grenade it out. 20 seconds left for the Rams right now. Starting to run out of time as Practical goes on a 5-killing spree. The garage will be up next with a chance for Boise State to seal it, but you can see on your screen both Pone and Retro have already rotated over. They're going to try and make sure Boise State does not get a good foothold here on this third hard point.
You know what I have noticed that might be helpful here is there's not a lot of players using optics. They kind of have the dot, or they're using iron sights. If you want to kind of play up into that mid-range, especially for a place like the garage where you have kind of these wide open areas before you even get there, that might be a good option. I'm a fan of optics, but I mean, I know some players don't like it.
Yeah, it seems like we've got a couple players who have at least gone with the red dot sight. Everybody else going with the iron sight, which if you get really good at the iron sight, the ability to save that attachment for something else is huge. But no, I'm right there with you. There's very, very few guns around. I'm like, the iron sight's kind of fun. So we do see, unfortunately, Perpsky's going to get a kill, take himself out with his own grenade. Boise State could potentially finish this one up. We'll see if Colorado State can't contest the hard point for long enough. And I think the Rams just did enough to force us into a rotation onto the court. And we'll see now if Boise State can find a way to just get 10 seconds on the hard point, or if Colorado State will start slamming dunks down on the Broncos here.
Now, this is a pretty tricky hard point. It looks like there's really only 2, maybe 3 entrances into it. And Colorado was already, there waiting for it. So that's definitely a tough, like, hey guys, we all need to have a focused push into this hard point.
Well, Boise State, with the help of some grenade spam, looks like they have done it. Waiting for one more person to step just 1 foot onto the hard point. Boise State would have wrapped this one up, but decided to play it a little bit more carefully. And now the Broncos are going to be able to pick up the win there. This one a little bit closer than we saw on Garrison, but still Boise State felt like for the most part they were in control. As we see our play of the game, our best play I should say, Practical. Definitely coming out as maybe one of the stronger players on this team. Multiple times now we've seen him go on a long kill streak, as we see at least a 3 for here. Maybe he make 4, 5 kills all on Colorado State in our best play of that match.
Definitely a team built around a solid all-around player can benefit you. I mean, if everyone's at the same skill level, you don't really have that standout guy. It can be pretty challenging. But Practical does look like he's kind of that standout player, the dependable guy who can get those 5 or 6 kill streaks.
Just a reminder that Boise State Esports is always recruiting talented players, production, and broadcasters. Top talent, along with good grades and eligibility, can earn you scholarships as well. If you want more information or you want to try out, go check them out, boisestate.edu/esports for more information. Clearly, the Broncos hopping on to new game modes. Call of Duty, one of the more popular games. It had its time in the sun probably in the mid-2000s. and then it kind of died down, but nice to see it back in a collegiate esport. And Boise State right now making it like they might have a really successful first year. We'll see if that success can carry over. Well, the Broncos are on fire. We don't want to cool them off, but we still need to take a short break. We'll be back to see if the Rams can find a way into the winner's circle, or if we'll be Boise State yet again after this short break.
Legendary parts for legendary wins.
Here are a couple lessons I've learned over the years. Friendships come in all shapes and sizes. And always buckle up. Seatbelts save lives. That's a rule we can all live by.
Visit NationalGuard.com to begin your Guard adventure.
Welcome back into the Boise State Game Pants Esports Arena. Little bit of a small transition here in the Collegiate Call of Duty Showdown, as we mentioned. Following the CCO rules, but we're not going to play Search and Destroy here between these two teams, just Hardpoint and Control. So we'll now opt over to the Control portion, which is sort of like a weird hybrid mix of domination, Hardpoint, and Search and Destroy. There's 2 points to capture. Your team only has a limited number of resources, 30 respawns per team. You either win by eliminating all of the respawns or by capturing both points. Once you capture a point, it cannot be taken back. So it is a very unique game. I'm not sure how much I really enjoy it. There are times where it feels like a lot of fun, and then there are times where you just kind of get snowballed and you're like, wow, why don't we just bring back domination? That was a lot more fun. But we'll see how these players adjust to it. Because right now, Boise State's been in complete control of Hardpoint, Esmar, and I'll be curious to see if that domination carries over to Control that has some aspects, but with the fixated points, maybe Colorado State can actually set themselves up in a better position, and the Rams maybe just struggle with that constant rotation.
I think Control also tests your player's ability to not be over-aggressive. If you have a really over-aggressive player, they're rushing, they're doing their flanks, they're getting in a lot of gunfights, it can actually be detrimental, especially if they don't have those respawns. So if they use up all those respawns, they're done.
Yeah, it is takes that one sort of element from Search and Destroy, but does add the extra bit of life. So a very unique twist for Call of Duty, and I think you're totally right. It really, you have to maximize your kills. You have to, at least if you die, you better hope you got one kill. Even better if you can go 2 for 1, 3 for 1, etc. So yeah, it's definitely going to make sure you play extremely passive, you win your gunfights, and I do think that the interesting point of when you capture A, for example, A becomes unattainable, and the only team has to basically hope they run you out of resources. It does add a very interesting snowball effect like we see in games in Overwatch, where once you lose that first point, there's only one place you can go, and if you're already low on resources, the enemy team can kind of just run you over. So I do think that this sometimes can lend to some blowouts, but all that prep We're going to run it back one more time on hardpoint, though. Maybe even the players were like, you know what? As Fish describes control, maybe we actually don't want to pick control. So we're going to go Moscow, hardpoint here. Colorado State still looking for their first hardpoint victory. The Broncos right now putting in a ton of great work. And Moscow definitely one of the more unique Black Ops Cold War maps. I've talked a lot about the 3-lane strat. Moscow just kind of one of the maps blows that out of the window, and they're just like, yeah, it's just kind of a bunch of squares, and it's a big mall. Go do what you want with it.
It's like a Tetris for your mind. I mean, there's corners, there's rooms everywhere. You have, in some areas, a really big height difference, and in others, you're on that even playing field. Personally, I really like this map. I think, again, it's I'm someone who likes to push into the spawn, so this is a really good map for kind of getting that sneak around. And it isn't also a pretty decent long-range map. So again, I'm not seeing really any opticals used here besides that red dot. I'll be interested to see how it goes.
See right now, Boise State in complete control. The one thing about this middle area, the metro, where the first hard point is there's so many ways, unlike what we've seen on a lot of the other maps, to hide and have no idea that the enemy team knows you're there. You see Hat-Trick actually below Retro. Not sure if Retro even knows he's there. They're almost looking in the exact same direction, but as long as Hat-Trick doesn't fire a shot, Colorado State's going to be kept wondering, where is that final member? Finally, he's going to be forced to peek out, and right now Boise State going to go with a perfect start here. Going to go up 43-0. We'll rotate over to the kiosk, which Colorado State should be able to start off with a control here. This is also a very interesting one, is that yellow building right to the left of Hat-Trick, as we see he's going to go up on that second floor, trying guns down. Remember, Colorado State will. You can actually hang out up there. So this one definitely adds a lot of different angles, and there's not a lot of cover here. As you can see, it's just a wide open sort of, waiting area.
It looks like because this map is a little bigger, the hard points are also bigger. I mean, this isn't something like Crossroads where the rooms are smaller. The hard points are smaller. You have a bigger area to cover. You also have more places you're able to sneak in.
See Colorado State, even with 20 seconds left, the Rams have just decided not worth it. They're going to make a full rotation over to the fountain. Our third hard point here. You can see Boise State holding 2 members down. Maybe a lash push from Steggy there. He's going to get gunned down, so that's unfortunate for Colorado State, and Boise State's going to add to that advantage. Now 78 points. New hard point does unlock. Cougs trying to flank Practical, and he'll have an assist from his teammate. Here comes the rest of Boise State. Look out for Steggy. He's going to sneak up right on McDowdy, win that gunfight. Herbsty going to get shot from behind as well, and Boise State's going to fall behind here quickly on this hard point. Not for an excellent play by Practical to keep his team in it. And Colorado State, seems like they went to the wrong area. None of them actually were on the fountain. They were all in the building behind the fountain when it unlocked.
Yeah, that is kind of a little bit of a misplay there. They seem to have kind of, made a little bit of progress, but that was a really weird, maybe they kind of got confused, or maybe there was a strategy behind it on the off chance. But yeah, they didn't actually go to the hard point there.
Now you can see where McDowdy was looking. Right where Retro is standing is where all 4 members of Colorado State rotated over. I don't know if there was a plan to maybe hold that upper area and then rotate down to the fountain, but it did not go according to plan. So we'll move on to our final hard point before the rotation will reset. We'll go over to the Boulevard. Definitely another one of those very open area places. There's a couple of buses you can get on top of, but right now Colorado State looks like this time they found their way onto the hard point first, and they'll start trying to catch back up to Boise State.
My question with this map is, do you think, especially here on that bus side, using something like the Pellington, kind of that quick action sniper, does pretty good damage torso up, would be beneficial? I just really disagree with the red dot sight, but clearly these players are much more experienced than I am.
Yeah, it is interesting, as a lot of these 4-on-4, 5-on-5 tactical shooters usually have one player who does opt for the sniper rifle. I mean, we've seen it with our ICCU series. They usually had 1 or 2 players always on that sniper rifle. And so maybe neither of these teams just feel comfortable having that guy on the sniper. I mean, as you mentioned, especially in the Boulevard, there's so many long sight lines where you could just pick off a couple of players, open things up for your team. As we see, we've rotated back into the Metro. this might be the area where, okay, you know, maybe you wouldn't like a sniper, but even then, you know, you could just quickly switch classes. So yeah, I do think that if you're Colorado State, you need some kind of long-range advantage against Boise State, because it feels like 70-30 in terms of 1v1 gunfights won in close range between Boise State and Colorado State.
Yeah, these are definitely more close-range weapons that they're using. There really hasn't been a lot of mid-range engagement between both of these teams. It kind of seems like they both get to the hard point, they battle it out, and Boise State just has the upper hand there.
The Colorado State, as we were praising the Broncos, making us eat our words a little bit there, jumped right on top of that Metro hard point. Boise State this time taking a page out of the Colorado State playbook, rotating all over to the kiosk before the hardpoint swaps. They'll contest the point long enough to kind of remove any final points, with the Broncos still with a 100-point lead in this first to 250 style game. And the Broncos, kind of like Colorado State though, they rotated over, but nobody got on the hardpoint, so the Rams back in control.
I'm wondering really if it's maybe like with the vertical, they can kind of see them coming into the hardpoint. Maybe their plan is to get them all onto the hardpoint and then eliminate them that way. As we mentioned, with control, you do lose those respawns. So maybe it's a strategy you don't want to sit on the control spot. Exactly.
Yeah, that would be... Maybe, I mean, we did talk about how we thought we were going to control, then we rotated back over to hardpoint, so maybe the players were in that control state of mind where they wanted to play a little bit more safe, and then the hardpoint came out. That one, though, all Colorado State, the Rams have shrunk the lead from 100 points all the way down to about 30 or 40, depending. It looks like it's going to go to a 160 to 115. This time, Boise State pulls off the rotation perfectly onto the fountain, and they're actually on top of the point. Looks like it is hat trick right now, getting all those points for Boise State. Colorado State slow on the rotate. Pone, no idea where to look. He gets gunned down immediately.
That was a really sneaky prone play. I don't like playing players who just sit in one area and go prone. I think it's kind of a little bit unfun, but I think with this game mode, something like that might be called for. A little bit more camping style play rather than aggressive pushing.
Yeah, definitely when you're sitting on the hard point, got to make sure that you bring out that, as they would, I'm sure, say, the tactical gameplay style. Some call it camping, some call it tactical, depending on if you're the person partaking or not. Boise State right now, a great use of that fountain rotation. Oh, Kook, didn't even know. Nice little slide there from Perpsky. Unfortunately, Practical going to walk right into his death. Hardpoint rotates over to the Boulevard, and Colorado State right on top of it. The Rams see if they can earn their way back in like they did a couple of hardpoints ago.
I think the last couple Black Ops games have really emphasized that like slide shot, jump shot into those corners. And I think this Cold War has perfected it pretty well. I mean, it's such an advantage if you're able to use those slide shots or jump shots around those corners.
Yeah, slide canceling also a really big thing at some level as well. Helps you move just a little bit faster, and you know there is that scene where players at a certain level, all right, I know this guy's going to slide shot. If you incorporate the jump in the middle of your slide, then they just start shooting in all the wrong areas. Hat trick, letting that tank or that car look like a tank there, absorb that full grenade for him. Then unfortunately his trophy system does get destroyed. Trophy systems destroying any sort of projectile, including if you're a big Warzone player, your munitions or ammo boxes, as I have unfortunately learned on an occasion or two, spending all of that money just to lose out because there was a trophy system sitting right next to me. As we finally rotate back to Metro, Boise State has owned this hard point so far. We'll see if third time's the charm. They're able to pick it up as Pone right now holding it down, trying to find Boise State, but all favoring the Broncos.
Yeah, Boise State has definitely pushed their lead a little, widened the gap. It looked like for a second Colorado State was kind of rotating correctly, making those moves. But I think Boise State definitely has a really good handle on this like middle map Metro area.
See, it is contested. The Broncos 4 points away from winning. McDowdy's going to try and clutch it out there. Boise State still on the point. Colorado State not going to be able to get there in time. The leads, the winning margins have been shrinking for Boise State, but it's still a Broncos victory nonetheless. And it's another Boise State best play as it's Perpsky this time in that Metro area. Going to go on a nice 3, maybe even 4 kill streak here.
Yeah, this was a really excellent job by Perpsky. He's able to use that far sight line. You can kind of see all of the Colorado State team in his area.
Yeah, it looked like that might have been as the Metro was ending and they were rotating over to that kiosk. It looked like a couple of Rams trying to get in that 2-story building to stare down at the point, and great job by Perpsky picking out both of them, and Boise State still remaining undefeated here in this mini-series between the Broncos and the Rams. But the Rams have been finding ways to get back into it. They had a really good play on that second hard point where they got almost all the way back into it. It just felt like a couple of times we saw on that fountain in particular, they rotated over early, gave 20 points over to Boise State, and then didn't even take control of the fountain, and that kind of is what cost the Rams in the long run on the map.
Yeah, those 20 points may have made a difference, but I think in the long run, Boise State had that map on lock. It really seems like it's a difference of communication there and maybe how long these teams have been playing together. Boise State looks like really gelled.
Yeah, we can finally confirmed it's control, so maybe we'll see how Boise State handles the control version of the game, because I think Colorado State had a really good strategy for some of those where it's like, okay, rotate over, don't stand on top of the point, let's camp out, let's try and win some gunfights. I will say, though, for Colorado State, based on what we've seen so far, Esmar, they've got to find something, maybe like you mentioned, the Pellington, some way to be cheeky, because a majority of these 1v1 gunfights, it feels like maybe 60-40, 70-30 are favored in Boise State's way, and that's never going to win you on control where you only have 30 respawns. It's
definitely difficult. Making that gun selection, I think it really plays into what map you're playing. But I mean, with a team like Boise State, I feel like they're mainly using that AK-47U, and I mean the MP5 is still a really strong weapon. I can't quite get a sight on which ones these gold and diamond camos are, because I'm unfamiliar with the look of the diamond camo. It's just blowing me away right now.
It is incredibly shiny. Sometimes I'm like, how can you even see with all those diamonds sparkling in your face? But we'll go to checkmate on control. A very interesting map. The control points, one underneath the plane wing, the other one just off to the right side. You could see there the one kind of a similar, almost right where the B flag is, just a little bit to the right if you're a domination player. The other one off by itself. As we mentioned, each team does have 25 respawns remaining, and they also have either the objective of capturing both points, and that will win you the round, or running the enemy team out of resources. So very interesting strategies here. Do you turn it into team deathmatch? Do you turn it into domination style? Once you fully capture a point, it can no longer be flipped to the other team. So definitely rewards a snowbally start. But right now these teams just kind of trading back and forth pretty evenly. Looks like Colorado State might get the first tick here onto zone B. Oh, he barely dodges one grenade. Oh, no.
Oh, life flashed before his eyes, and then it was all over. I mean, these points here are really challenging, and unlike Hardpoint, I don't believe they move around. They're in the same spot every map, every game. But yeah, as you mentioned, there's really two strategies here. Do you go for that team deathmatch, kind of eliminate all those respawns, or do you try to get those points? Because once, like you said, once they're captured, and there's no flipping them back.
Yeah, that would be my one major criticism of this game. Is control is also a game within a game, as it is best to 3 on control. But they always play the same map. It's always the same zones. One of my probably biggest criticisms of this game mode is that it feels like, if you've seen the first game, you've seen them all. We see Coop doing a great job holding down that point. Perpsky going to melee him in the face. Boise State right now not in control of many of the zones. Look like Colorado State has come close a couple times. Time is ticking down, by the way, and the Broncos do have a nice lead in terms of respawns, so Boise State not going to be too worried there. Time ticks when anyone is not capturing the control, so Boise State's going to stay off of the points in a tactical manner, knowing they are ahead on respawns. Colorado State would need a miracle, and we're going to time out here the third win condition. The Broncos will go up 1-0 here. And they played it almost, in a different style. It wasn't team deathmatch. It wasn't hold the points. It was, all right, we're ahead on kills. As long as no one's staying on the point, we know time's going to run out, so we'll just never stand on the point.
Yeah, time, that kind of third factor that a lot of players tend to forget about. I know I'm not ever really watching the clock when I'm playing. I definitely play more to the TDM style. I play a lot more TDM rather than these kind of challenge game modes. But Boise State definitely utilized all 3 aspects there of what they had going on.
Yeah, so we'll flip sides, but everything else we'll run it back the same. Looks like we've got mainly AK-74 used for both sides, the Krieg 6 for hat trick there. So the lone assault rifle that we've seen, there's an XM4 from Steggy, all of the standard ones. I think Steggy, the lone player on Colorado State with that diamond camo. So he is trying his best to represent that he worked hard for it, but right now Boise State in control across the board. It does appear respawns even favoring the Broncos by 2.
Now, you did mention the assault rifles. I think Cold War has done a lot with the stabilization, especially with that XM4. I believe it is one of those guns that you start with, so you know, you kind of pick it and stick with it, and maybe that's how you get to the diamond camo. I don't know. But it is a really good solid weapon, as well as that AK-47U. I'm not really sure about that Krieg 6 there. I feel like the firing rate's a little too slow for me.
Yeah, the Krieg 6 is definitely an interesting one. It felt like a solid assault rifle on release, but definitely outclassed by a couple of weapons. Of course, there's been patches here and there that have tried to even things up. As we see Boise State in a much different tone from game 1, has almost fully captured point A. They will do just that. So the Broncos now can win if they full capture B. There's also about 1:40 left on the clock with players capturing the hard points. It does slow down that timer. You see Coog and McDowdy on opposite sides of that plane fuselage. One of them's going to have to find the other one. Coog's going to find him but get gunned down, and Boise State in control of Zone B.
Yeah, it's kind of sketchy underneath that plane wing. Again, there's so much open space. And you might have that situation where you have one player on one side of the wing and the other on the other side, and they just don't know that each other's there until maybe one of them gets a shot off. And you're like, oh, that was not someone on my team.
You see Boise State has gotten 2 ticks on the zone. They're also very far ahead in respawns. Colorado State with just 3 remaining. Make that 2, but Boise State looks like they're going to wrap this one up the way the game was originally designed, capture both the points, and the Broncos now going to put themselves here on match point in control, doing it a couple of different ways, that time just a dominating performance.
Yeah, Boise State seems uber confident here in this game mode. Very different from their hardpoint performance. I think the game's going by a lot quicker. They kind of have that zone management under wraps, and they're utilizing all those playing styles, the TDM, going for that point, as well as being aware of the time they have on the clock.
Yeah, and I think no one for Colorado State was even aware that Boise State was on A. It was captured relatively quickly. As I said, though, this is the one thing that I think this game is lacking if you want it to be in your rotation. I mean, we are basically just watching a repeat of game number 1. It's the same size as game number 1. It's the same points as game number 1. Still kind of shocked that we've left control in this weird state of, yeah, you're just going to do the same thing potentially 5 times in a row and just see who does it better 3 of those 5 times. But Colorado State, maybe they've learned a thing or two. They're in the early lead, albeit tiny, just 1 respawn ahead of Boise State. Neither team too interested in either of these zones. Steggy caught thinking that grenade would kill him, going to get gunned down, and the teams right now even in resources. Pone, though, with a nice little tactical hiding on that plane wing.
Yeah, I mean, you got to be on top of it with those tacticals. If you're going to throw one, you might as well just stay out there and maybe gun down the excess just in case there's another person. I definitely think this game doesn't really allow for that kind of throw and hope that it works out due to that flat jacket perk there.
Yeah, flak jacket. They've got tac mask as well, so those secondary grenades not always going to do really much of anything, and the duration will be reduced quite a bit. We see Colorado State actually nearly 2 checkpoints down onto Zone B. The Rams definitely finding their footing until McDowdy comes in and sprays 2 of them down and erases a ton of their progress. Unfortunately, the Rams all going to respawn on that right side of the map, so they're now going to bum rush A, where Boise State has been holding it strong. You see all 4 members of Colorado State going to rush down Perpke. He peeks around, thought it was a 1v1, but that was not the case.
That's the worst. You think you're good, and then, oh, no, there's the whole squad.
And you see the Rams right now, they've turned their attention from A to B, trying to get that 1 tick onto the zone. Boise State doing a really good job denying them. The Broncos have pulled ahead in respawns, but they also once again have the time on their side, as no one's for Boise State. Looks like they're going to be interested in holding a zone. they're just going to let it bleed out, and Boise State is going to win this control series 3-0 here on Checkmate.
Yeah, this has been a real quick, 3 up, 3 down here. Boise State has such great control of this map. I'm not hesitant to say that I think this is probably their best game mode.
Yeah, Boise State, complete control. Definitely think this game mode favors the 1v1 gun skill just a tad bit more than Hardpoint, as there is that sort of resource element involved, and Boise State did a really, really good job there of never letting Colorado State blink. Never, and it really was. They only had that one game that they dominated the points. For the most part, it was just get a little bit more kills than Colorado State, let time run out, and that was the way they won. So good job by Boise State playing to all of their win conditions, something we talk about here all the time at Boise State on playing to your win condition. That one, it was just let the time run out.
They did a great job managing all of those aspects of that game, and as well as they had that solid gunfight. Every engagement that they had, they were coming out on top. Maybe losing a few from those cross angles or not being aware of where the other players are respawning, but still a solid performance by Boise State.
Yeah, and Colorado State, it felt like they had what looked like a decent game plan in that third match. They had gotten 2 ticks on the B site. Gets wiped out. They all spawn on the right side, and instead of trying to diversify and say, all right, maybe 2 go to A, 2 go back to B and see if we can capture B, they all just bum rushed A and kind of got wiped out. So it felt like Colorado State maybe thrown a little bit off guard. Maybe the respawn's putting them all in a probably not very friendly place. Putting them all right next to each other definitely might have cost them, but still Boise State looking pretty strong here for the Call of Duty team's debut, as the Broncos and the Rams going at it, getting all warmed up for the CCL season, and Boise State has yet to drop a map against their Mountain West foe, as we will head back to Garrison here, still on control. So we see we've got one over on the tank, the other one on the first hard point, just a little bit in front of it. We'll see which of these teams comes out on top, because Boise State did a pretty good job on Garrison on hard point for the most part.
Yeah, Garrison, again, with this control, the points don't rotate, so you're going to have that same spot. Of course, it chose, I think, 2 of my least favorite areas, kind of that mid-open hallway area, and then kind of, I believe the other one is back over by the tank. Just awful.
Yeah, this feels like it might be a map where if you are Colorado State, especially down this B site where you can see Hat Trick hanging out, maybe now is when you pull out the sniper and you try and turn this into a more TDM style of just getting more kills than Boise State. So very interesting that for now Colorado State has not done that, and you can see the Broncos are ahead by 8 in terms of the respawns. Yeah, the first one over on that walkway, the second one over by the radar, according to the official map turn. At least it's, a little bit better than enemy at the chickens that we had to deal with in Modern Warfare from time to time. So right now, Colorado State kind of feels like they're just like a chicken with their head cut off, running around all over the map, not in the position they need to be.
I really miss enemies at the chickens. That was such a great call out.
Enemies at the chicken was a great call out when you tried to play shipment and you heard enemy at the shipping container. That's when you're like, what does that even mean? Like, how is that a thing? As we see Boise State once again with the time victory here, going to go up 1-0 over Colorado State.
Yeah, I think Cold War has definitely made the call outs a little bit more specific, which definitely plays to the advantage. But it can still get kind of weird when you hear the other team, their player, potentially say something, and you're like, oh, where did that come from?
Yeah, that was a huge issue, I know, in the Modern Warfare release, where your character would try and, be helpful and I guess be realistic, and you're like, oh, the enemy's over there, and then you're like, wait, what? Who said that? And you just peek around the corner, you're like, oh, hi. So I remember there was a relatively quick patch in Modern Warfare to be like, your operator won't shout as loudly, because it was just so frustrating to die because your operator that you could not control when they talk would be giving away your position. Coog in an awful spot. I hate that spawn if you're in the side of Colorado State. You could just see the shadow every time they peek around the box, and he realizes that he's going to have to retreat as the Rams. Right now, uncontested. Looks like Retro hanging out on that radar point. No one over there for Boise State right now.
I think Boise State definitely has the upper hand in terms of the spawn. I am not a big fan of the Colorado State spawn. I think, like I said, I think I mentioned this during Hardpoint, there's just not many places that you can rush in, and with that shadow there, you're kind of just held down in that room.
Yeah, you can see Steggy getting pre-grenaded, pre-fired. Now, it is interesting to me that right where he's standing is actually able to capture the zone. I think that is one of the more unique things that you can kind of hang there. That wall is very thin, so you can get bullet penetration kills through it. But it is interesting you can stand there. You see Boise State has kind of rotated over to A. They're going to have 2 ticks down on this point. Colorado State's got 1 member. Steggy's actually going to be right in front of Practical. Walk right into him. He's got 1 more teammate coming the exact same way. You can never make that mistake. You cannot go where your teammate just died and think the results are going to be different for you.
No, and you know that they're there. You know that they're right around that corner. They're probably not going to move. It's just, oh, that's so painful just seeing 2 people walk into that same situation, especially when you see your teammate get killed. I mean, maybe try the wraparound?
Yeah, I thought that Steggy was going to go for the wraparound, and Practical would have had no idea he was behind him. Instead, he walks right in front of him. And that was really what spelled doom for Colorado State. Do get a small time extension when the Broncos pick up Zone A. So there'll be 2 minutes on the clock. The Broncos pretty close to capturing B. You can see the Rams only have 5 respawns remaining. So they're already hard pressed for resources, and Boise State's quickly about to maybe wrap this one up with a control point victory.
Yeah, Boise State takes that. Again, just really good time management. They're able to get on those points, and they're able to manage those respawns. I feel like Colorado State maybe has some things to work on, some weak points in terms of managing their respawn, not rushing in, kind of playing that over-aggressive TDM style, where this game kind of calls for a little bit more strategy.
Yeah, I mean, maybe even the comms for Colorado State, I don't know what was going on as Steggy gets gunned down. Maybe it was, hey, he's right there. Maybe he thought he did more damage to Practical than he actually did, so his teammate thought he could make some sense of that. But, I mean, you could have even just had 1 person flank from the right side, 1 person go where Steggy had ended up being gunned down, and you can try and 2v1 that guy. But I do think Colorado State, as you mentioned, Esmar, probably has a little bit of things to work on, but right now they'll get the favored spawn, and that's going to allow Retro to pick up first blood there. So Shadow's going to betray Boise State, and the Broncos right now following behind here early. So we do see a couple of quick kills picked up by Colorado State.
Yeah, I think Garrison has that really clear map advantage of wherever you spawn, it might determine how your game starts out. And I definitely think there's more advantage spawning on the opposite side of kind of that like storage area. Looking over there, yeah, they were able to get on top of some of those things and had those good sight lines on Boise State rushing towards the middle.
Yeah, you can see Boise State still kind of being held down in their spawn. Looks like CSU has gotten 1 tick on B before Boise State is going to force them off. The Broncos trailing just barely in resources, but still those spawns, you see Steggy camping out right behind those boxes. McDowdy gonna try and pick the corner. Even with the shadow, he hits 1, but it's so hard if you're Boise State to try and get around that corner. You gotta find a different way, as those lighting in that room is just gonna give you away every time.
Yeah, it's interesting. It looked like Steggy was trying to pull off that, sneaky flank, looking into the Boise State spawn. But as you said, McDowdy kind of in that room, kind of held down. I just would avoid it in this case. I don't think there's any way around it.
See Practical's trying to open things up for his team. He's going to get a flank there on to Steggy before getting gunned down. So he's going to force Colorado State all the way back in their spawn. Boise State has taken the respawn advantage thanks to that huge play by Practical, killing 4 members in 1 death. And time's going to run out here on the side of Colorado State. What looked like a great start really just fell apart there in those final seconds. Boise State's respawn's very, very low. Colorado State's got to remain on these capture zones to keep those 0.3 seconds on the clock. They're going to also have to pick up 3 kills or be able to find a way to finish that one out. They're not going to be able to do it. Boise State will gun down that lone member on the point. And Boise State, in the closest match we've seen today, still going to pick up the victory in the 3-0 win here in Control once again.
I think Colorado State had a good start there, but kind of like what I saw at the end. I'm not sure if Steggy maybe had run out of his tacticals, but you knew that there was 2 Boise State members in that room. Maybe could have thrown down a grenade or something to maybe prolong the game a little bit.
Yeah, that best play actually was what flipped it for Boise State. We saw Practical pick up 3 members. He ended up turning around, getting a 4th. Boise State only won by 3 respawns. So if Practical doesn't make that sort of hero play, Colorado State might have actually forced us to a game 4 on control. So it was really down to the wire. I think Colorado State, that was the best we've seen them play, and it took a very impressive play from Practical to sneak into their spawn, kill what ended up being 4 of them, and that proved to be the main difference as the Broncos win on time expiring with just 3 extra respawns over Colorado State. So Boise State and Colorado State still going at it here. Couple of matches left in this preseason showdown between the schools, and Boise State. Actually, you know what? We're going to take a pause from Call of Duty. It was a great little warm-up for these two schools. I think Boise State definitely has to have a lot of confidence going into the CCL season. And as you mentioned, Esmar, Colorado State probably has to work on a couple of things here. But that's going to wrap up our Call of Duty coverage for this afternoon. We're going to take a 30-minute break, and then we'll be back with some League of Legends for Boise State after that. So you want to make sure you stay tuned, grab a snack. We'll be back at 4 o'clock Mountain Time for some League of Legends for Boise State. But a huge congratulations to the Call of Duty team for Boise State, their first official win on the stream, and it looks like bright things are in store for them in the future. We'll be back after this 30-minute break.